LaMelo Ball has been on fire recently, especially the last 2 games, which we'll get to in a minute, but overall this season, he's been putting on a show night after night and cementing himself as one of the most electrifying guards in the NBA. His numbers are nothing short of historic, and the impact he's making at such a young age is truly remarkable. Let's dive deeper into just how incredible he's been. To start, LaMelo is averaging a mind-blowing 31 points per game. That's good enough for second in the league. And if he keeps it up, he'll become the youngest guard to average over 30 points per game since Oscar Robertson did it all the way back in 1961. That's over 60 years ago. To even be in the same conversation as someone like Oscar Robertson speaks volumes about the level LaMelo is playing at. But scoring isn't the only area where LaMelo is excelling. He's also averaging 6.9 assists per game, which ties him for 11th in the league. Among guards, he's leading everyone in both points and three-pointers made. That includes some of the best shooters the game has ever seen, like Steph Curry and Damian Lillard. For LaMelo to be at the top of that list is a testament to just how dominant he's been offensively. Let's talk about his ability to take over games when it matters most. In the fourth quarter, LaMelo is absolutely unstoppable. He's averaging 10.7 points in the final frame, which leads the entire league. To put that into perspective, the next closest players are Scottie Barnes and Kevin Durant, who are both at 8.1 points. That's a huge gap, and it shows just how much of a closer LaMelo has become. When the game is on the line, he's the guy you want with the ball in his hands. Clutch moments, he's got those covered too. So far this season, LaMelo has scored 37 clutch points, which puts him in the top 5 in the league. He's right behind established stars like Fox, Jason Tatum, and Nikola Jokic. What makes this even more impressive is that LaMelo is still early in his career. For someone his age, to consistently perform under pressure is not something you see every day. His shooting has also been a major highlight. LaMelo recently became the second fastest player in NBA history to hit 600 career three-pointers. He achieved that milestone in just 201 games. The only player to do it faster is Duncan Robinson, who managed it in 184 games. That's an incredible achievement and puts LaMelo in elite company. One thing that sets LaMelo apart is his versatility as a scorer. He's not just a volume shooter or someone who relies on one area of his game. According to Basketball Index, he statistically has the highest floater talent this season. That's a rare skill to have, and it shows how crafty and effective he is at finding ways to score, even when defenders are doing everything they can to stop him. By the way, if you guys enjoy these deep dives, I'll be posting every day during this season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks. Anyways, back to the video. When you combine his scoring, his clutch performance, his playmaking, and his shooting ability, it's clear that LaMelo is playing at an all-NBA level this season. What's even more exciting is that he's doing all of this while still improving. He's not just a flashy player who makes highlight reel plays. He's producing at an elite level, night in and night out. His fourth quarter dominance is particularly fascinating. Averaging over 10 points in the final frame isn't just good, it's elite. It's a skill that separates the great players from the truly special ones. Being able to consistently deliver in crunch time shows not just talent, but also an understanding of how to take control of game. It's not easy to perform at such a high level when the stakes are at their highest, but LaMelo seems to thrive in those moments. It's also worth pointing out how efficient he's been with his shooting. Reaching 600 career three-pointers in just 201 games isn't something you see every day. In fact, only one player in NBA history has done it faster. For LaMelo to achieve that at such a young age is a clear sign of just how special his shooting ability is. Another underrated aspect of his game is his creativity. His floater talent, as noted by Basketball Index, is the best in the league this season. That's not just a random stat, it's a reflection of how versatile and unpredictable he is as a scorer. Whether he's pulling up from deep, driving to the rim, or floating it over defenders, LaMelo has a bag of tricks that's tough for anyone to defend. When you step back and look at the bigger picture, LaMelo's season isn't just good, it's historic. To be performing at this level so early in his career is something that doesn't happen often. It's the kind of dominance that makes you wonder just how much better he can get. The fact that he's already leading the league in fourth quarter scoring and setting records for three-pointers made while also being one of the best playmakers in the game is astonishing. Every game, LaMelo is proving why he's one of the brightest stars in the league. It's not just the numbers, though they're undeniably impressive. It's the way he plays, the confidence, the creativity, and the ability to make everyone around him better. He's a game changer in every sense of the word, and this season, he's been nothing short of spectacular. LaMelo Ball isn't just living up to the hype, he's exceeding it. Whether it's his scoring, his playmaking, or his ability to shine in the clutch, he's doing it all at an elite level. Watching him this season has been an absolute joy, and it's clear that he's just scratching the surface of what he's capable of. This isn't just a good season for LaMelo, it's the start of something truly special. Let's talk about the last two games though. First off, the game against the Bucks. LaMelo Ball had an unforgettable performance against the Milwaukee Bucks, and honestly, it was one of the best games I've seen from him. He made history and did it in style, even though the Charlotte Hornets fell short, losing 125 to 119. Let's start with the numbers, because they were insane. LaMelo dropped a career-high 50 points. At just 23 years old, he became the third youngest player in NBA history to hit that milestone, and the first ever in Charlotte Hornets history to do it, while also dishing out 10 assists in the same game. That's rare air. The only other Hornet to score 50 before him was Kemba Walker, who once went off for 60. What's even more impressive is how LaMelo scored those 50. He had only 10 points in the first half, which was solid, but nothing earth-shattering. Then, he absolutely exploded in the second half with 40 points. 40. It felt like every time he touched the ball, something special happened. He finished 17 of 38 from the field, showing just how aggressive and locked in he was. LaMelo also knocked down 6 of 17 from beyond the arc. Sure, it wasn't the most efficient three-point shooting night, but he hit them when it mattered, and it kept the Hornets in the game. Plus, he went 10 of 13 from the free throw line, which is another sign of how determined he was to carry the team. One thing that stood out to me was how much of the offense ran through LaMelo. He was responsible for 62% of the team's total offense in this game. That's just wild. It wasn't just about scoring either. His 10 assists were crucial, setting up teammates and keeping the offense flowing, even as the Bucks put pressure on him all night. Speaking of teammates, Brandon Miller deserves a shout out for his incredible performance too. He dropped 32 points, and together, he and LaMelo combined for the most points by a duo in Hornets history. That's the kind of record that doesn't just happen every day, and it shows how well they complemented each other on the court. The way LaMelo and Miller played together was electric. LaMelo's playmaking and scoring opened up so many opportunities, and Miller took full advantage. Watching them light it up like that was pure entertainment, and it gave the Hornets a fighting chance against one of the best teams in the league. Even though the Hornets didn't win, LaMelo's performance was nothing short of historic. He didn't just rack up numbers, he made them meaningful. Scoring 50 points in an NBA game is hard enough, but doing it while also recording 10 assists, that's next level. It's the kind of game that puts you in the record books and reminds everyone just how special LaMelo is. The second half explosion was a masterpiece. It felt like LaMelo couldn't be stopped. He attacked the basket with confidence, hit clutch shots from deep, and controlled the pace of the game. The Bucks are a tough team, but LaMelo looked like the best player on the court for long stretches. What's crazy is how young he is. At 23, he's already doing things most players can only dream of. Being the third youngest player in NBA history to drop 50 points and 10 assists is no small feat. When you think about the players who have come before him, it's clear that LaMelo is on a path to greatness. And let's not forget the effort it took to stay competitive against the Bucks. Milwaukee is a powerhouse, and the fact that LaMelo kept the Hornets within striking distance says so much about his leadership and determination. He didn't just put up numbers, he gave the Hornets a real chance to win. His ability to take over a game is something you can't teach. The way he reads the defense, finds his spots, and keeps his teammates involved makes him one of the most dynamic players in the league. Games like this show why LaMelo is so special. Even in a loss, this performance was something to celebrate. LaMelo's name is now etched in the Hornets history books, and he's only just getting started. Watching him play at this level is a reminder of how bright the future is for both him and the team. They might not have gotten the win, but LaMelo left no doubt about his talent. And then the next game, he went off once again. It's not often you see a player put up numbers like this, especially right after dropping 50 in the previous game. He followed that masterpiece with another show-stopping performance, finishing with 44 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists. It was jaw-dropping. What's wild is that he did all of this while being the only real offensive engine for the Hornets. The rest of the team combined for just 40 points. That's right, LaMelo scored more than half of the Hornets' points. It's hard to overstate how much he carried the load in this game. He shot an efficient 17 of 30 from the field. That's over 50% shooting, and he made it look easy. Whether he was driving to the rim, pulling up from mid-range, or hitting from beyond the arc, he had every tool working. He also knocked down 4 of his 11 three-point attempts, and went 6 of 8 from the free throw line. His true shooting percentage for the game was an impressive 67%, which shows just how locked in he was. LaMelo didn't just score though. His 9 rebounds and 7 assists proved that he impacted every part of the game. He was all over the court, setting up his teammates and fighting for second chance opportunities. Even though the team struggled, LaMelo didn't let up for a second. On top of his offensive explosion, he added 1 steal and 1 block. Those might seem like small numbers compared to everything else he did, but it highlights how active he was on both ends of the floor. What makes this game even more impressive is the historical context. With this performance, LaMelo became only the 9th player in NBA history to tally at least 90 points, 15 assists, and 10 three-pointers made across back-to-back games. That's an exclusive club, and he's only 23 years old. Watching LaMelo in this game, it was clear how confident he felt. He was in total control, dictating the pace of the game and putting the Magic's defense on their heels. It didn't matter what they threw at him, he found ways to score and create. His ability to get to his spots on the court is incredible. Whether it's breaking down defenders with his handle or using his quickness to blow by them, LaMelo knows exactly how to create space for himself. And once he gets that space, he's deadly. Even though the Hornets didn't come out with the win, LaMelo's performance was the kind of thing you don't forget. He kept them competitive against a solid Magic team, and he made it clear he's one of the most skilled and dynamic players in the league. The fact that he scored more than half of the team's points says everything about how dominant he was. The rest of the team just couldn't find their rhythm. But LaMelo refused to back down. He carried the offense from start to finish. When you look at his back-to-back games, it's honestly mind-blowing. To put up these kinds of numbers in consecutive outings, over 90 points, 15 assists, and 10 made threes, it's the stuff of legends. It's also worth noting how efficient he was with his scoring, shooting 17 of 30 from the field in a game where the defense is focused entirely on stopping you is no easy feat. And the fact that he still managed to contribute with rebounds, assists, and defense shows just how complete his game has become. LaMelo's court vision and passing are always fun to watch, but in this game, they stood out even more because of how much responsibility he had. Those 7 assists came in a game where the rest of the team wasn't hitting shots consistently. He still found ways to set them up, proving once again why he's one of the best playmakers in the league. His rebounding was just as important. Grabbing 9 boards is no joke, especially for a guard. He was active, fighting for every loose ball and making sure the Hornets had extra possessions whenever possible. This game wasn't just another strong performance, it was a statement. LaMelo showed that even when the odds are stacked against him, he's going to put on a show. He's the kind of player who can make any game worth watching, and this one was no exception. Every time LaMelo stepped on the court, it felt like something special was about to happen. He has that rare ability to take over a game and do it in a way that's both effective and entertaining. The Magic had no answer for him. He was hitting shots from all over, threading the needle with passes and crashing the boards. It was a complete performance, the kind that reminds you just how talented he is. When you think about what LaMelo accomplished across these 2 games, it's hard not to be amazed. 90 points, 15 assists, 10 made threes. It's not just impressive, it's historic. And he did it all while carrying his team almost single-handedly. Games like this are why LaMelo is such a special player. He has the talent, the confidence, and the drive to do things most players can't even dream of. This game against the Magic was just another example of how high his ceiling really is. I want to talk about his shooting though, because that's what I've been really impressed with so far from him. Let's start with his off-ball gravity. LaMelo is sitting at a value of 1.10, which ranks in the 96th percentile. That's an A+ grade. What this essentially means is that LaMelo's movement without the ball creates constant pressure on defenses. Even when he doesn't have the ball in his hands, defenders are always aware of where he is, and that's because of how much of a threat he poses. Next, there's his overall gravity, graded at an A- and sitting in the 81st percentile. This stat measures his overall ability to pull defenders toward him. And it's clear LaMelo's presence on the court keeps defenses on edge. He's not just a player you leave alone, he forces defensive rotations and creates space for his teammates. That's huge for a team's offense. Now let's get into the fun stuff. His 3-point shooting talent. LaMelo is in the 100th percentile with a grade of A+. This is as elite as it gets. It's clear that when it comes to shooting from deep, LaMelo has all the tools you could want. His mechanics, confidence, and range make him one of the most exciting 3-point shooters to watch. On top of that, his 3-point shot creation is also in the 99th percentile, earning him another A+. This stat highlights his ability to create his own looks from beyond the arc. Whether he's pulling up off the dribble or shaking defenders with a step back, LaMelo doesn't rely on others to get him open. He's fully capable of creating his own opportunities, and that's a skill very few players have at his level. When it comes to efficiency, his three-point shot-making efficiency stands out at 1.24, which places him in the 95th percentile with another A+ grade. This tells us that not only is he taking tough shots, but he's making them at an incredible rate. Efficiency matters so much in today's game, and LaMelo's ability to maintain this level of accuracy while attempting challenging shots is remarkable, but not every stat paints a perfect picture. Let's talk about his three-point shot quality, which sits at -1.44 and ranks in the 3rd percentile with an F grade. This indicates that LaMelo isn't necessarily getting high-quality looks. Many of his shots are contested, taken off balance, or in tough situations. However, the fact that he's still converting at such a high rate despite this low shot quality is a testament to his skill level. One of the most impressive parts of his game is his three-point pull-up talent. He's in the 100th percentile here, again earning an A+. This is an elite stat that showcases just how dangerous he is off the dribble. When you have a player who can consistently pull up from 3 and knock it down, it's a game changer for any offense. Defenders can't sag off him, and it opens up driving lanes for both him and his teammates. LaMelo's three-point percentage is also solid at 36.92%, which places him in the 67th percentile with a B grade. While this may not jump off the page as elite, it's important to put it into context. Considering the difficulty of the shots he takes and his role as a primary creator, this percentage is very impressive. Many players with similar responsibilities struggle to maintain this level of accuracy. However, his catch-and-shoot three-point shot-making efficiency could use some improvement. It's at -0.78, placing him in the 13th percentile with an F grade. This suggests that he's less effective when shooting off the catch compared to his pull-up threes. It's an interesting contrast, and it shows that LaMelo thrives more when he's in control of creating the shot himself, rather than relying on spot-up opportunities. When you put all of this together, it's clear that LaMelo Ball's shooting this season has been a mix of brilliance and room for growth. His ability to create and make difficult shots is elite, and he's one of the best in the league at it. Sure, there are areas where he can improve, like his catch-and-shoot efficiency, but that doesn't take away from how impactful he's been overall. LaMelo's shooting talent and creativity are what make him so unique. He's not just a one-dimensional shooter who thrives only in ideal situations. He's proving that he can handle tough defensive pressure, create his own looks, and still put points on the board at a high level. For a player as young as he is, that's a scary combination for opposing teams. What's even more exciting is how these stats fit into the broader context of his game. LaMelo isn't just a shooter, he's a playmaker, a leader, and an all-around offensive weapon. His ability to stretch the floor with his shooting opens up so many possibilities for the Hornets offense. Defenses have to account for him at all times, which creates opportunities for his teammates to thrive. Watching LaMelo this season, it's obvious how much his shooting has improved. The confidence he's playing with is contagious, and you can see it in the way he attacks every possession. Whether he's pulling up from deep, hitting a tough step back, or creating space with a crossover, he makes the game look effortless. And let's not forget his impact late in games. When the Hornets need a big shot, LaMelo is often the one they turn to. His ability to deliver in clutch moments is another reason why his shooting has been so impressive this season. It's not just about putting up numbers, it's about making those numbers count when it matters most. Overall, LaMelo Ball's shooting this season has been a masterclass in creativity and efficiency. He's shown that he's capable of doing it all, from creating his own looks to hitting big shots when the game is on the line. There's no doubt that his shooting will continue to be a major weapon for the Hornets moving forward. It's been a joy to watch, and I can't wait to see how he continues to evolve as a shooter and a player. But to me, there's some advanced stats of balls that really stands out, like his ball handling advanced stats, for example. LaMelo Ball's advanced ball handling stats this season have been absolutely insane. Let's start with the basics. His ball handling ability is in the 95th percentile. That means he's better than 95% of players in the league at controlling the basketball. It's no wonder defenders struggle to keep up with him. His handles are smooth, quick, and calculated. Every dribble serves a purpose, and it's a huge reason why he's such a nightmare for opposing defenses. Now let's dive into his passing game. LaMelo is averaging nearly 7 assists per game, 6.9 to be exact. But it's not just about the number of assists. His assist rate is absolutely mind-blowing. He's assisting on 39.33% of his teammates' made shots while he's on the floor. That puts him in the 98th percentile, meaning he's doing this better than nearly every player in the league. His court vision is off the charts, and he's constantly setting his teammates up for success with pinpoint passes. Think about this. LaMelo's assists are creating 17.5 points per game for his team. 17.5. That's an incredible amount of offensive production directly tied to his playmaking ability. When you add in the points he scores himself, LaMelo's impact on the Hornets' offense is undeniable. His creativity and flair with the ball are keeping defenses guessing every single game. Of course, no player is perfect, and turnovers are a part of the game for someone as involved in the offense as LaMelo. He's averaging 4.4 turnovers per game. But here's where things get interesting. His turnover percentage is just 11.3%, meaning he only turns the ball over on a little over 11 out of every 100 plays he finishes. That's better than 61% of players, despite handling the ball so much and making so many high-risk, high-reward plays. For a young guard with as much responsibility as LaMelo, that's extremely impressive. Let's not overlook his scoring attempts. LaMelo is averaging 27.2 scoring attempts per 100 plays. That shows how aggressive he is in trying to make things happen for his team, whether it's finding his own shot or creating for others. His ability to balance scoring and distributing makes him one of the most dynamic guards in the league. What's really impressive is how all of these stats come together to tell the full story of LaMelo's ball handling brilliance. His 95th percentile ball handling rating shows that he's one of the league's best at keeping control of the ball, even under intense defensive pressure. Combine that with his ability to create opportunities for his teammates at an elite level, and you've got a player who's not just good, he's game-changing. But then looking at his usage stat, this one is even more crazy. LaMelo Ball's advanced usage stats this season are absolutely ridiculous. Let's start with his usage rate. He's sitting at 38.8%, which means he's directly involved in nearly 40% of his team's offensive plays while he's on the court. That puts him in the 99th percentile, better than almost every other player in the league. The offense just flows through him, and he thrives in that role. When you break it down, LaMelo is taking 24.4 field goal attempts per 100 possessions. That shows how aggressive and confident he is in creating his own shot. He's also getting to the free throw line 5.9 times per 100 possessions. Those numbers highlight how fearless he is in attacking the basket and drawing contact. LaMelo knows how to keep defenders on their heels, and it's so fun to watch. His playmaking adds another layer to his usage. LaMelo is dishing out 6.9 assists per 100 possessions. That's not just solid, it's elite. He's creating high-quality scoring opportunities for his teammates while also looking for his own shot. Balancing scoring and passing like this is rare, especially for someone so young. Now, turnovers are part of the equation for any high-usage player, and LaMelo is averaging 4.4 turnovers per 100 possessions. That might seem high, but when you consider how much he's involved in the offense, it's not bad at all. He's constantly taking risks to make things happen, and those risks are paying off big time. When you combine all his offensive actions, field goal attempts, free throw attempts, assists, and turnovers, LaMelo is averaging 24.4 field goal attempts, 5.9 free throw attempts, 6.9 assists, and 4.4 turnovers per game. That's an insane workload, and despite all that, he's still playing 70.4 possessions per game. His stamina and ability to impact every single possession are incredible. LaMelo's ability to handle such a massive workload without losing effectiveness is what really stands out to me. His usage rate doesn't just mean he's involved, it means he's the engine driving his team's offense. Whether he's scoring, drawing fouls, setting up teammates, or even just making the right read, he's influencing the game in so many ways. Lastly though, I want to talk about his defense. LaMelo Ball's defensive advanced stats this season are way better than you'd expect. He's been getting a bad reputation for his defense, but the numbers tell a different story. Let's break it down, because his impact on that end of the floor is actually pretty impressive, especially considering the Charlotte Hornets' struggles as a defensive team. First off, his mixed team defense metric ranks him in the 67th percentile. That means he's better defensively than more than 2/3 of players in the league. This stat measures both his individual defense and how he contributes to the team's overall defensive success. It's not easy to shine defensively on a team that allows 114.7 points per 100 possessions, but LaMelo has managed to stand out. Now, let's talk about his individual defensive play. He's averaging 1.2 steals per game. That puts him in a spot where he's consistently disrupting passing lanes and creating opportunities for his team to get out and run. It's not just about getting steals though. It's the way he uses his anticipation and quick hands to force mistakes. It shows he's locked in and reading the game well. On top of that, he's pulling down 4.2 defensive rebounds per game. For a guard, that's really solid. Grabbing boards on the defensive end is crucial because it ends possessions and keeps the other team from getting second chances. LaMelo's rebounding numbers highlight how he's contributing in ways that don't always get noticed. Blocks aren't a huge part of his game. He's averaging 0.2 per contest, but that's expected for a guard. His job isn't to protect the rim, and yet he still manages to make his presence felt on defense in other ways. It's about being active, being in the right spots, and knowing how to make plays without gambling too much. What makes all of this even more impressive is the context. The Hornets haven't been great defensively this season. Their team defensive efficiency, sitting at 114.7, ranks among the lower end of the league. But even in a system that struggles to contain opponents, LaMelo has shown he can hold his own. It's not easy to look good defensively when the team around you isn't, yet he's managing to do it. I think what stands out most is how these stats challenge the perception of LaMelo as just an offensive player. People love to talk about his flashy passes and deep threes, and don't get me wrong, those are great. But his defense deserves some respect too. He's not just out there letting guys blow by him. He's active, he's engaged, and he's finding ways to make an impact. It's also worth mentioning that LaMelo's defensive growth is happening at such a young age. He's only getting better, and these advanced stats show he's already taking steps in the right direction. For a player known for his offensive brilliance, seeing him put in work on the other end of the floor is really exciting. This kind of two-way development is what separates good players from great ones. Honestly, watching him play defense this season has been a bit of a surprise. I didn't expect him to rank in the 67th percentile for mixed team defense, but here he is, proving people wrong. It just goes to show how much he's evolving as a player. Overall though, watching LaMelo ball this season has been an absolute blast. The way he's dominating the game is something special. Averaging 30 points per game in the NBA is no small feat. And it's even cooler when you remember this is the same kid everyone's been watching since his high school days. Seeing him evolve from a flashy young talent into a legitimate NBA star is amazing. There's no doubt in my mind that LaMelo should make the All-Star team for the second time this year. He's putting up numbers and making plays that deserve recognition. It's not just about scoring. He's leading, creating for his teammates, and putting on a show every night. His game has reached a new level, and he's proven he belongs in that conversation with the league's best. Honestly, this might be the year LaMelo makes his first All-NBA team. It would be so well-deserved. He's shown he can impact games in so many ways, whether it's scoring, playmaking, or just taking over when his team needs him most. The way he's performing right now, it's hard to argue against his place among the league's elite. It's just fun watching LaMelo grow into a star right before our eyes. From a high school phenom to an NBA player averaging 30 points, he's been delivering every step of the way. This season is just another chapter in what's already been an incredible journey for him. If you guys enjoyed this, I'll be posting every day during this season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.